week on the Africa Innovation and Technology channel, could a $34 smartphone device improve HIV diagnosis in Africa? And how technology entrepreneurs in Zimbabwe are urging investors to take advantage of the untapped market. Hello, I'm Paul Ndiho. Every week we strive to bring you stories that inspire, empower, engage and motivate young African innovators using new technology into action. Diagnosing infectious diseases such as HIV requires expensive clinical tests, making the procedure too costly for many poor patients or those living in remote areas. But a new technology called Lab-on-a-Chip, designed by a team of biomedical engineers at New York's Columbia University, may take the test to more accessible to millions of people across the world. Well, research recently done in Rwanda showed it to be almost as accurate as regular lab tests. It works with an application to test blood for HIV and syphilis from a finger prick. The tests take just about 15 minutes. Analysts say that this technology could revolutionize the way tests are done, especially in the developing world. Smartphones are essentially pocket-sized computers capable of executing many complicated programs, from video games to navigation aids. Attachments called dongles further extend those capabilities. Scientists at New York's Columbia University have developed a lab-on-a-chip that, when plugged into the phone's jack, turns a smartphone into a tool for diagnosing infectious diseases such as HIV and syphilis.
Then collect just a little drop of blood. Wow, you have a lot. Can you just press? Yeah. Connect to the device, to the cassette, and insert this into the dongle. We press the bulb and then click Start Run. And in total of 15 minutes, the test will be done and we will see results for both HIV and syphilis. Early diagnosis may be a matter of life and death to patients such as a pregnant woman in rural parts of Africa. A small-scale testing for patients in Rwanda provided highly accurate results. Sensitivity in finding the target antibodies was 90 to 100%, while ruling out the people not infected was 79 to 100% on target.
It's really a matter of life and death, because for a lot of these patients, they simply cannot travel the distances to testing clinics to get their blood drawn and get the results, which means that they're not treated for these conditions. And in this specific case, pregnant women, they are not treated for HIV or syphilis. They will pass these diseases on to their newborns, and a lot of times the newborns aren't even born alive. You have a stillbirth. So by providing accessible diagnostics to these patients, they can get treated, and their babies can actually be born and thrive and live. So it's really a matter of life and death if they don't have these diagnostics.
For 10 years, Sia and his team worked to develop the attachment. They say it can perform nearly as well as an $18,000 laboratory equipment. The capabilities of the lab-on-a-chip attachments are not limited to sexually transmitted diseases, or STDs, such as HIV and syphilis.
Such as hepatitis and herpes and so forth, as well as other infectious diseases, including malaria and so forth, but also chronic diseases. So cancer, diabetes.
Sia and his team are now preparing for a larger scale clinical trial required for approval of the device by the World Health Organization. Still to come on the Africa Innovation and Technology channel, tech entrepreneurs in Zimbabwe are urging investors to take advantage of the untapped opportunity. We'll take a short break, but before we go, we want to know what you think about the Africa Innovation and Technology channel and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Twitter and on Facebook. The address is Africa Innovations and Technology. You can also check us out on our YouTube channel. Welcome back to the Africa Innovation and Technology channel, a show where we strive to bring you stories that inspire, empower, engage, and motivate young African innovators using new technology into action. This week, we are talking about a smartphone application that could improve HIV diagnosis in Africa and take entrepreneurs in Zimbabwe who are urging investors to take advantage of the untapped opportunity. A recent survey by the United Nations Broadband Commission reported that 8 of the 10 countries with the lowest levels of internet availability in the world are in sub-Saharan Africa. 8 countries are Ethiopia, Niger, Sierra Leone, Guinea, Somalia, Burundi, Eritrea, and South Sudan. Some 2.9 billion people, or 40% of the global population, are expected to be online by the end of this year, and about 50% by 2017, according to the report. However, internet penetration is growing in many parts of Africa. In Zimbabwe, tech startups are urging investors to invest in the untapped market. When WebDev, a Zimbabwean IT startup, opened here just over 10 years ago, its founders never expected things would go well as they have. Hyperinflation in Zimbabwe was at all-time high, but perhaps one can argue that WebDev was at the right place at the right time, and it developed into a successful technology solutions business, just as Zimbabwe was emerging from an economic crisis. Today, the organization is one of the leading IT firms in the country. WebDev runs 4 businesses: Zimbabwe's first online payment solution, PayNow, custom software development, web hosting, and their most profitable venture is an online classified ads platform. Vusi Ndebele is one of the company directors.
Our target market is very much dependent on which of the businesses that we're talking about. We have our largest public-facing business, which is the classifieds business. It's a double-sided business model. So our aim as classifieds.co.zw is to provide a platform whereby consumers and businesses can search for products and services that they need or want on the internet.
The value of the business generated online in Zimbabwe is worth over $500 million annually as internet penetration grows, supported by mobile phone penetration, which is around 40%, according to technology commentator TechZim.
There are a lot of companies created in Zimbabwe that have an opportunity to reach out into markets because we had to solve problems here first. Because of not having those solutions available to us. I think the opportunity is huge, into the billions of dollars in value of business on the internet in the next few years to come.
The revenue comes from social network advertising, e-commerce, online ventures led by Zimbabweans and in the diaspora, and foreign entrepreneurs. Markets like Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya lead the way in tech business growth in Africa. But for WebDev, their focus is tapping new streams of revenue in places like Zambia and Botswana,
where they can grow and improve the customer experience.
We enjoyed a lot of success when the economy could sustain the development of such big solutions. As the economic activity has kind of faltered in Zimbabwe, we're seeing less of those big projects coming to us for custom software development.
Independent economists say less than 20% of Zimbabwe's residents are in formal employment, and economic growth is flat, leaning due to shortages of electricity and capital. Many engineers hope Africa can jump to the front of the technology revolution.
I think for people that come in now into Zimbabwe and invest into startups, are able to invest into startups at a learning phase, but also at a very low cost.
Zimbabwe is currently rolling out its fiber cable, which is primarily allowing the residents of the capital, Harare, an opportunity to connect to the internet. But the economic conditions in the country mean that the profits from the internet businesses are not likely to reach the masses for years. Paul Niho, VOA News. On that note, do you think you have a better idea, or you have created something that everyone is talking about and you would like to be featured on this show? Please send us your video clips and tell us which country you're from and how your innovation is impacting your community. Well, that's our show today. Be sure to watch the Africa Innovation and Technology channel online every weekend. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you next week. For now, take care. So long from Washington.